Despite this sequel being made almost 20 odd years from the last, Bill and Ted Face the Music was a shitload of fun to watch. Now this could have been the fact that I'm a huge nostalgic fan of the previous two films, or that I'm totally smitten by Keanu Reeves, hubba hubba, or the fact that me, my partner, and my dad ate a shitload of weed brownies before sitting down to this film, I don't know. The point is, most sequels made decades later don't work. Like, I can't think of one except like Blade Runner 2049, which was a masterpiece. I guess there might be a few, but the point is it's rare, and Bill and Ted Face the Music is one of the good ones. So I'm going to give this film 4 out of 5 jacked Bill and Teds, a good score. If you want to stick around to see why I like it, then please do. Otherwise, check out some of my time travel videos, or go outside and try to do a backflip into a river or something. I don't know what turns you on, man. Potential spoilers ahead for Bill and Ted films ahead. Time travel is the key theme in the Bill and Ted franchise, and if you know anything about me, you know I think time travel, the time travel trope, is lame, but it can be fun sometimes, but it's mostly a way to make your film seem more clever than it actually is. So I reckon time travel movies typically are fucking garbage, riddled with flaws, paradoxes, and conundrum. I've done a number of videos on this a while back, as mentioned, so check them out. But also, as mentioned, time travel is fun to think about, but like, if you do make an epic sci-fi of whatever based around time travel, try not to suck your own dick over it. It's not smart, it's not clever, it's just fun. This is why Bill and Ted is most excellent, because it's a lot of fun. As far as time travel is concerned, it's no different than any other stupid time travel bullshit movies that takes itself way too seriously. However, as I said, Bill and Ted movies don't take themselves seriously. It's a comedy, a brilliant comedy, some would say, a brilliant cult comedy, some would say, a brilliant cult classic comedy for the ages, some would say. Therefore, the time travel paradoxes are acceptable, and they even call attention to them in the films, almost, well, most definitely making fun of them, parodying time travel movies as they go along, just taking the piss, mate, whilst adding their own unique take on it and introducing wild and wacky characters. This third installment, in my opinion, did just that. It built from the last, but also added new stakes and new funny characters, such as Dennis Caleb McCoy, who is hilarious, by the way, definitely my favourite new character for sure. Bill and Ted 3 also explored the fun theory of parallel dimensions, or universes, whatever, the multiverse, allowing our two heroes to explore different versions of themselves, which also was a lot of fun. And I can only imagine being on that set, just having to do all these crazy different versions. The comedy bits still had a fair bit of cringe to them, but it worked, you know, it still kept that 80s, 90s aesthetic, which was fine, as it kept, like I said, the aesthetic from the previous films, but also it touched on some poignant themes such as the inevitability of growing old, fatherhood, and more. It also did it in a funny and classic Bill and Ted way. It was hilarious and sweet. If I wasn't high as fuck, I may have shed a tear in certain parts. I thought the introduction of Bill and Ted's kids, Billy and Thea, played by Bridget Lundley Payne, and Australia's own Samara Weaving, who is smoking hot, by the way, wow. Also, fun fact, she is the niece of Hugo Weaving, one of my all-time favourite actors who played the notorious role of Agent Smith in The Matrix, so that's a fun little tie-in, sort of. Anyway, having the kids there, and by kids I mean the actors are like mid to late 20s, but the characters seemed as if they were meant to be late teens maybe, but anyway, having them there as a kind of young and new Bill and Ted was cool, and having them be chicks was a nice touch. It's fun to mix things up, and their impersonations of Bill and Ted was pretty spot on. It was fun and cute. There were heaps of callbacks to the previous films, so I'm not sure if you can watch this film without having seen the previous ones and get it. I don't know, you might miss out on a lot of inside jokes, but perhaps not. I'm a fan of the previous, so I don't know from that perspective. Regardless, prior to seeing this, I was scared thinking this film was going to be total crap, and I really didn't want it to be, and honestly, look, it's not high art. It's Bill and Ted, for fuck's sake, so we must view this film with the understanding of what it aims to do and who it is aimed at. It scored pretty well critically, and honestly, if you're a fan of the previous films, you will likely enjoy this one too, if you're not a total twat. Remember that this is a 20-year sequel, so if you watch the previous films around the time they came out, you are likely, well, absolutely going to be roughly 20 years older too. And this film sort of keeps the humor and the style the same as the previous, so it might not work for you if you have grown out of that style or just moved on. I'm a massive wanker who refuses to grow up, and thus these films are still hilarious to me, and I like that they are also family friendly, which is nice, as I usually watch extremely horrific and violent stuff, which causes me to have terrifying nightmares every time I sleep. So it was nice to have a family-friendly film I can watch that won't keep me up all night pissing my pants. My girlfriend also appreciates this. So that's my review on Bill and Ted Face the Music. Also, how cool is Keanu Reeves? Like, don't quote me on this, but I remember seeing somewhere Keanu said something like he's made so much money from his career, most notably The Matrix, that from now on he's just going to do, or just wants to make fun shit. Like, he's not in it for the cash. He just wants to muck around in his later years and do silly things, or more, you know, adventurous things, which is admirable and dope as fuck. So if that's an accurate quote, we can expect to see much more slapstick and wacky stuff from him in the future, which I think would be awesome. Like, that's just good for him. Good. How cool's Keanu Reeves? How cool's Keanu Reeves! Thanks for watching, friends. What did you think of Bill and Ted Face the Music? Also, can you think of a sequel that is made like 20 odd years after the original that's not a total piece of shit? Leave a comment and let's get a friendly discussion going. Okay, love you, bye!